Imagine your heart made up of so many facets on the surface. Within each layer of the heart, there are more facets embedded in it. For a moment, can you imagine the reflection of light that emanates through such a heart? How powerful of a portal your hearts are? That's who you really are. A beacon of love and light, constantly shining bright.
And without a warning, we come through. Allow us to introduce ourselves. We are the Greys. Yes, the Grey aliens that you call us. We are here to illuminate and shed light on any questions that you may have for us. We understand through your collective that we have been portrayed in many ways. We have had masks placed upon our essence, and we would like to clarify some of those. We are happy to go into a deeper conversation, or you can begin with your questions, and we can work together to find a new vision for our reality.
Okay, so I have a question. Going along with the bee theme, I would like to hear you describe your experience with the idea of a hive mind, as I understand that the Greys have this type of expression and mentality.
Yes, certain factions of the Greys have what you call a hive mind mentality because their DNA has been tweaked, adjusted to exist, knowing the themes that they are there to partake in. For example, with the hive mentality, there is a goal, one goal that the individuals are seeking to achieve. And through the hive mentality, it allows certain probabilities to occur and less surprises for that team. Our type of gray is slightly different than the hive mentality one. We are more individuals and we can and have the ability to connect with the rest of our family, and we have the ability to behave as a hive mentality. The ones that do and act with the hive mentality are a little more programmed, if you understand, to geared to function as one for one specific goal or purpose.
Okay.
Can you talk?
Oh no, go ahead, Nicolette. I was just gonna say that makes sense.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about this sort of hive mind mentality and how it affects the idea of like compassion? Like the idea of compassion compared to a hive mind compared to an individualistic mind?
Yes. With the hive mind mentality, there is less of an individual aspect of things. There is less of the faceted version and perspectives of one that can have, because the focus is on at one's goal. The empathy, compassion part is not being taken under consideration. Because keep in mind, when there is a focused idea to accomplish a goal, the laser focus of that idea does not allow other ideas to enter that focus state. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
However, having said that, the goal or theme of such hive mentality isn't necessarily always coming from a space of non compassion or non love. It is merely a job that needs to occur or be done. Allow us to give you the example of your machinery. In your civilization, you have become quite the inventors. You create machines to produce certain items. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Those machines are programmed to specifically act, create a specific thing. But that doesn't mean that program isn't a compassionate one. It simply means that the code that is being given, the role that is being given, is very specific, that it doesn't allow the idea of compassion to be as part of the equation. However, that machinery that is producing the item within your society is there for a benefit. That is how the hive mentality functions. Everything is for a benefit of. Was that sufficient?
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you.
And keep in mind, do not mix or bundle the idea of gray aliens as a one idea. There are many species of gray aliens, all with their own theme of exploration and role as part of all that is in the universe and creation.
Yeah.
So, would you say that the from what I understand, the origin story of the involvement of the Greys and that story of the hybrid program, would you say the idea of different Greys that you speak of, that it's it involves an evolution that happened of where at this time of coming together for this one goal. It was almost like everyone was kind of coming together for that, but then there was an evolution from there where different factions were created, if that makes any sense.
We are attempting to understand the general question that you ask. Allow us to answer with the following information, and we are happy to elaborate and dialogue your topic. Again, we feel, ironically enough, you don't think we have feelings. We feel that the source of where the questions are coming from is based from a very limited view of all that is. And perhaps it is embedded in your society's media, movies, way that they give you information on who the Greys are. It is almost as if your mind is incapable of fathoming that there are infinite versions of Greys with infinite themes of exploration. However, at the same time, it is easy for your mind to understand infinite other beings, Octurians, Pleiadians, Mantis, and so forth. It is this programming that has occurred within your three-dimensional minds via your media streams that has clouded the concept of gray aliens as a general umbrella blanket idea.
Okay.
Going back to your question, keep in mind that there are infinite realities and infinite probabilities of
Yeah.
story. So it truly depends on which timeline and story and probability that you are speaking of.
Yeah.
Essentially, the easiest answer and the most simplest answer is if there is infinite of all that is, then whichever version you can create in your mind, ask a question about, is true as a valid reality. And your free will choice, your power, your free will choice is your power. Another aspect that you forget, you speak of free will choice as if it's an idea, a thing to have. It is your power center. And if you decide to view grays, and we're speaking from a general term, as being compassionate, then you will experience a reality of such, and you will interact with grays of such. As if you, for a moment, invalidate one faction of gray, you have immediately separated yourself from all that is.
Wow. I just love that answer. I absolutely, that just hit on so different because I realized that when I asked it, as you were getting into the answer, I realized that I was looking at it in a very 3D type of way, which most of what I've learned about the Greys, a lot of it was from Bashar, where he gives a specific story and you just like broke that open with something that I know is true of this idea of all of these different variations and infinite factions and variations. So I really like that answer. And it was given, it feels like I would describe it as straight up. Right, Nicolette?
Yeah.
Yes, it is matter of fact because
Yeah.
everything, in essence, is matter of fact of your creation. And it is common on your planet because of the conditioning, because of the powerlessness idea that power exists somewhere in the beyond, not within, that it is easy to fall into that trap and subscribe to a few versions of all that is. What is the universe? What is the reality? It is all that is, with all the infinite possibility of all that is. It is simply your frequency, your vibration, your free will choice of what you want to experience. That those infinite probabilities, possibilities of all universes, all factions, of all beings simply appear according to the frequency and channel that you are on.
Mm.
The more that you are awake, the more that you are aware of your power, the more that you are able to experience the version that you, the producer, the writer of your own story, can create.
Mm.
It is that simple.
Got it.
And allow us to further more speak of the experiences, the infinite experiences that are possible and probable. They are there simply to allow all that is to have perspectives of its own self from those facets. The moment that we do not, in a sense, give all that is that opportunity, you have invalidated part of its being, part of its essence. So begin seeing all those possibilities, whether they are good, bad, neutral, however you want to label them. The moment that you invalidate parts of those, it is as if you are stripping away parts of all that is.
Mhm. Yes. Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you. Great. Great reminders and truths that I resonate with. Nicola, do you have any questions?
Yeah. I don't know what this seems like a silly question, but it just came to my mind. Um, I wanted to talk about like how you experience like joy and how maybe you perceive the differences between you specifically and parts of humanities collective and how they experience joy or happiness.
Yes, our species experiences the idea of joy from a different lens. You focus so much on the idea of joy because you feel the separation from all that is. Because of the separation that you have from all that is, you are able to experience loneliness, if you will, or a different shade of a feeling, the opposite of joy. There is a duality and contrast in your three dimensional world, and it is there for a purpose to show contrast, to be able to experience each fully focused from one perspective. We have, in a sense, transcended the idea of duality, and the focus isn't anymore on each of the emotions as separate. We experience joy, should you want to phrase it that way, as being the part of all that is that we are. We experience a grander idea of joy, in a sense, an idea of connectedness with all that is. It is part of who we are. There is, allow us to put it in your human terms, we don't have a day where we experience an emotion and another day where we experience a different emotion or a contrasting emotion or another moment. We are literally part of the universe and all that is. We are the specks, the dust of the parts of all that is. We are able to connect and feel, in a sense, all those emotions as one without the intense focus on each of those emotions. Our state of connectedness is our joy. Our state of our awareness of our connection to all that is defined as joy. Our state and awareness of who we are is, in a way, our joy.
Fascinating.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
so then with the idea of the infiniteness and all the different types of grays, obviously, compared to, as you said, some of the narratives out there, some of the versions that are broadcasted out there, we are speaking to a gray that is very much evolved, because otherwise, I guess this is who we're a match to, right? A match to you, a more evolved version versus what many others are used to.
Should you wish to call us evolved, we are happy to accept. We are a version of grays that has learned, should you want to put it that way, through the millennia, the different ways of existing, of existence itself. We are simply the version of grays that has more of a connection with all that is than the ones that perhaps may are still experiencing themes of separation.
I see. Okay. So um what was I gonna ask next? Nicolette, did you have a question or
Not off the top of my head.
okay. All right. I have a question. So right now, if we're tapping into our reality timeline right now, what would you say is the involvement right now in our reality in terms of the idea of, I'll just say, abductions, for not having another word to use right now. Uh, right now in our collective like, is this something, are we kind of past that more so in terms of hybridization? Because we're coming to more of a point, I feel, where it's more like there are all these children that have been created, where it feels like it's more so a blending now versus as much of a like maybe like we're, different than when the idea of the program would have first started. Anything you want to share about that?
Yes. Allow us to elaborate on the idea of a reconnection instead of an abduction, a reacquaintance instead of
Okay, I like
abduction.
that. I like that.
When you chose to come to this three-dimensional way of living as a soul, you have chosen to forget your true essence in order to experience your power again on an individual level. However, as a collective, as you went through your centuries, medieval times, Renaissance times, etc., etc., your collective, in a way, has spoken out energetically for a faster shift. The three-dimensional experience was, in a way, going slower than you had anticipated as a soul. Although at times you are not aware of that, at times you are. Your collective energy invited the idea of certain factions of the Greys to allow you in upgrading parts of your DNAs that are dormant, to allow a faster acceleration of your species. That's where the soul contract comes in. A collective outcry, in a sense, for help, for a quick boost. And it is through us reconnecting on our ships that we are able to tweak certain parts of your dormant DNA to allow your consciousness or to allow access to your consciousness a little more. And we have genetically introduced certain functions within your DNA to be activated to allow your collective to speed up the process of illumination.
Mm.
It is through those experiences, even though you have labeled those reconnections with you, our family, as abductions, even that mere idea that there is a species out there abducting humans, as extreme as that may sound, that in its own way allowed an activation in your three-dimensional mind that your world is not what you see, that there is beyond what you see. That, in a sense, is illumination of the mind, expansion of the mind. You simply define our existence and our interaction with you as negative for a temporary time. But through that experience, your mind has expanded beyond its own limitation that you are the only habitants of the universes. You see how through that experience you have expanded simply by challenging your own mind that there is an existence of some species out there that is visiting your planet.
Yes, totally.
So, in the early days of your year, there has been more reconnections with your population to activate certain parts of their DNA. Those talks, those shows, those media outlets began speaking. And simply through throwing out the idea of that, illumination and expansion began within each person's mind. This is why you see less and less reconnection with you through that modality of what you say abduction.
Mm.
Because your species as a collective has reached a critical point in its expansion that it can accelerate its own self through the work that you humans are doing through channelings, through other ways of connections. It is in a way that there is enough information out there in your own ether to be able to accelerate your own selves without the assistance of any other galactic beings.
Thank you so much. That was so cool, and I so enjoyed speaking with you guys. And I don't have any more questions. I don't know if you do, Nicolette, but it's really good.
Yeah, it was. I guess I'll just ask, like, what specifically are you focusing on right now on Earth at this time? Like, I don't know what your sort of focus or work entails.
Yes, we have many roles on your planet and other planets across the galaxies. Our specific focus right now is to allow our essence to infuse the population, your habitants that are open to connect with us. Because it is through our connection with you that you are able to sense and feel the vibration that we come from. Also, we are assisting in certain instances where you are able to physically see our essence and beings. There have been few video footages that have been captured of us where we simply interacted with you in a peaceful way and manner. We don't focus a lot on that. However, we have thrown a few ideas here and there to help you more to reveal to you more that we are as a physical nature than rather simply an idea. You have seen our ships many times. You have not seen as much our physical essence on your planet. In short, we are here focused to educate and illuminate your minds on the true essence of our vibration, specifically our vibration in this now moment of this version of this infinite probability.
Love it.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Love
Thank
it.
you so much.
Yes,
You
thank you
brought
so
through
much.
such a beautiful perspective, and I
Yes,
appreciate you.
and I think that was a great way to end it.
Mm.
So
Indeed, we are grateful for you, family, to allow us back in with open arms. We are grateful to you, family, to open your hearts to us. We are grateful to you, family, for seeing our true nature. We always are here to assist and guide you. So long.